Hello, welcome to the Irreverent Gentleman podcast. I'm joined by my good friend Daniel Wagner of Unframe of Mind.
Good morning. What's going on, Trent?
Oh, not much. I'm just embarking probably one of the most idiotic ventures of my life.
Well, you wouldn't be the first
Expressing
one
my
either.
opinion on the internet is what I mean.
You certainly won't
Um,
be the first.
yeah. Well, this is an extension of my primary outreach, for lack of a better term. The Irreverent Gentleman on Facebook and the Gentleman's University of Manliness WordPress blog. And I just wanted to kind of have like an introductory thing because what really got me into more of the wider podcasting realm was being on Daniel's show. And I just wanted to have him here at the start of mine so that I could have someone to talk to, for one thing, so that I can get all the rambling that is in my head out and not make it feel like I'm talking to no one. But what I wanted to deal with today is the concept of becoming an informed individual, what that kind of does to you, and how that affects us in the world at large, because there's a lot of pushback to being informed and not towing the collective line. It's a subject of discussion that Daniel and I have had many times in the various times I've been on his show. Starting, that's about 3 years ago now, isn't it?
Oh gosh, not quite that long ago, but it's been pretty close. I think I just passed my 2-year anniversary in June for my channel.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, that makes us ancient in internet terms.
Right,
We
right.
were around before memes were racist and won elections,
Yeah,
even.
right. You had the great meme wars of 2016 and the great meme wars of 2017 that a couple battles we've suffered through and survived and it's and supplied memes for even.
Yes, I have the meme war veteran meme somewhere in my archives. That was uh, an unbelievable change in scenery for the political landscape.
Yeah,
It
right.
certainly made us look beyond whatever the hell we listened to before then. I just don't get it.
No, I don't understand myself, man. It's been an insane couple years, to be honest. Just all the different directions I've taken on my channel and different things that I've tried out and tested and things that I'll still try and things that as projects in my mind I still have yet to do. It's a non-stop ongoing collaborative and ingenuitive, if that's even a word. It's a process of growth and struggle and everything else. It's a lot of fun. I think if you really enjoy doing this and you enjoy talking to people and you enjoy having these conversations, man, there's no better way to do it than to throw on a show and have a podcast and talk to people, and it just gives them an excuse to be there for an hour at a time or what have you, undivided attention and having a conversation. It's like we don't get that a lot nowadays.
Yeah, I find that really sad because the way I grew up and the way I was trained was that you need to be able to, one, express your opinion clearly and in a concise manner. You have to be able to defend your position well, and you have to be able to have discourse with someone in a civil manner so that everyone will benefit from what's involved. I think we've seen a very large decline of that quite quickly
Yeah.
since just before the last election in the US with Donald Trump's victory.
Like discourse, what's that? I haven't heard
I
of that in a
mean,
long time.
discourse, when I was growing up, discourse and political discourse really wasn't a thing I paid attention to, like during
Right.
Bush. I started paying more attention to it during the Obama administration, but it just went insane.
Oh,
Insane the last 4 years.
it's not great. It's not great at all, man. It's like nonstop. We've got a situation where people will sit there and call each other names. They just kind of they'll hear me say an opinion, and they'll automatically assume that they know everything about me. That I'm a hardcore Trump voter. I'm a Christian. That or whatever the right the boxes you're supposed to check to be on the right. It's like, okay, no, that's not me. You don't know me at all. You just took one opinion or one thought that I put out there and just assumed that because you disagree with that thought that you must disagree with everything. And I think it turns out, for the most part, I think we all kind of, we can mostly agree on about everything. It's just a few little fringe issues that people seem to be so tore up about and get hysterical about.
Oh yeah, and it goes into the basic concepts of freedom. Basic concepts of freedom is I should be able to do what I prefer to do, as long as I'm not harming anyone else, as long as it only affects either me and the people who have agreed to put their lot in with me. Why should I be stopped from doing that if the only one it would negatively impact would be me? Uh, for background, I am a conservative constitutionalist, moderate libertarian to an extent, because the Libertarian Party has become a meme in and of itself in the last year or two.
Right.
And Daniel here is an anarcho-capitalist and an atheist, while I'm an ardent believer in a deity. So we have the full spectrum of ideas within the groups that we hang out with, both together and on our own.
So,
It
out
just
of all
comes
the
down.
conversations we've ever had and all the things that we've ever talked about, or the different opinions we've espoused, have you and I ever had a fight? Like, have we ever really, just gone, toe to toe, just pulling out the nails and just digging in each other's faces like a couple hysterical women? Have we ever? Not once. No.
No,
No.
we've never done that, because we both know it's like, okay, I go into every conversation knowing I will never agree 100% with anyone on everything.
Yeah, that would be insane. Like, there's nobody I agree with
It,
100% on everything. There's no, but that would be weird. That would be really weird if you just had a little group.
it is weird.
No, wait, no,
Uh,
that would be a Democrat. Sorry, not weird, a Democrat. At any rate,
oh, one of my best friends, love him to death. Some things he thinks are great, some things I think are just men, some things I think are fantastic. He's like, yeah, that's okay. That's what we need. We need the push for diversity that has been the major thrust of most political campaigns and ideology in the last 9 years is actually about uniformity. It's diversity in name only, for lack of a better term, when the give and take of ideas is what creates the beneficial society where the diversity that they seek will thrive. You can have Sikhs and Muslims and Jews and Christians ostensibly, in theory, because reality is much different than theory, can live together in harmony if their goal is to, I have to worry about what I'm doing predominantly and not worry about what you're doing as long as it doesn't negatively affect me.
right. I'm sitting here thinking about, like, back when I was in school, middle school, high school. I mean, back when you start to, as a young man, you start to get these ideas, these different, you start to try to figure out who you actually are in this world and what you actually believe. What do you stand for? Like, what is it? And you're asking questions and you're doing research and you're trying to figure shit out. And it's like, back then, like, I don't remember ever having a discussion with somebody that led to, being hit in the face with a bike lock, or having a fires being put, or being shut down, nothing crazy. Just having, it was just disagreement. It was cordial. It was just, even if I really, really, really disagreed with what you thought, I didn't hate you. I mean, I still don't do that now, but I mean, it's just like nowadays, just like if people disagree, it's like there's this hatred that, like, you hate the person, and people have this hard time separating the idea from the person now. It's insane.
Yeah, that's something that I've encountered. You have to be able to somewhat develop a thick skin, and you have to realize that if they start, well, this is in my view of it, if they start hurling insults in a debate, for lack of a better term, you have found their weak point, and you push home on that because they don't know how to defend it. It's very sad for me because I love a good debate with someone who brings up their evidence for their point, and it's like, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? And in my more debate-heavy phase, in my mid to late teens, this one guy absolutely made my blood boil. But it wasn't because I hated him. He and I were actually pretty good friends before he, in my mind, went off the deep end for some stuff, but he kept putting out stuff that was factually untrue, and that was what made me irritated the most.
Right.
And so I would debate him, not because I knew I could change his mind, because you can never change anyone's mind, but it was for 90%, 90% of why I debated him was because he had a much greater voice within the metaphorical community that we were in. He was more vocal, and I was very much less vocal, and everyone was like agreeing with him, like he was the second coming in regards to ideological discourse. And I only challenged him and went at it with him for the sole purpose of him having an opponent so that someone would see the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
If no one else challenged him, if nobody else had given the counter argument, he would have been left unchecked to express his, which predominantly was his opinions, and the opinions of others that were unfounded. And it would just become an even more rampant problem in my community than it is today. And that's part of what being an informed individual is.
Yeah, I think when you have these discussions with people and somebody does actually challenge your core beliefs, and it makes you, you know, it might make you a little mad at first, like, no, that's not true at all. And then you start like researching it and finding out, well, wait a minute, I was wrong. Like that, I don't know where I got this idea, but I was wrong. And you do the research, and you like, you actually have to change your beliefs. Like, it's the disagreements that are the seeds that lead you to the growth. And it's like, you can't grow if you're constantly telling everybody around you, like, shut the hell up, leave me alone. I've got my beliefs. I've got my truth. I don't know what the hell that even means. Like, this is the crap that you're dealing with. I got in a debate. I very on the periphery of this Facebook debate got involved because the guy, it was about this whole illegal immigration issue and Trump ripping the children out of the arms of the parents, and this super emotionally driven story that's been going on lately. And it was interesting to watch because, you know, these people are going back and forth, and each one of them are kind of quoting their own sources. Like, you could tell exactly who believed what because of the sources they were using. And both of them were kind of being real condescending to each other, like really like treating the other person like, my facts are correct, and if you don't see that, you're an idiot. And the other person had kind of had the same opinion. And I jumped in at one point and I said, listen, I would love to have this debate with you guys, but as long as you're being condescending and you're not coming at this from a position of curiosity and trying to understand the issue, and maybe even being a little curious about what I really believe, I'm out. I'm not going to do this. This is completely pointless because I'm not going to come in and be in an abusive relationship or an abusive conversation just to try to hope that maybe you'll hear me. You're not listening. You're just wanting to shove your shit down my throat. That's all you're trying to do. And so I mean, I didn't say all that specifically the way I just said it. Of course, it was a lot more
diplomatic.
Yeah, let's go with that. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of like that. But it's like at some point, I think people just need to go ahead and recognize an abusive relationship, even if it's from strangers on the internet, and step away and go, look, I'm not going to be treated this way. If we can't talk like two normal, equal human beings, there's no conversation to be had. It's that simple.
Oh, yeah, I had, it was definitely not an important thing. It started off with a joke. There was a debate, a joke about Canada invading the U.S. And Canadian, I have two Canadian friends who are dear to me, but this Canadian guy comes in and says, like, yeah, we can do it. And it's like, this is a joke.
Yeah,
this is literally a joke.
It would be the nicest war you've ever fought, ever.
I mean, it's like, he went like through this long, hard thing about Canada would be able to do this because we have list a bunch of statistics and other stuff that were inaccurate even by Wikipedia standards, which if Wikipedia agrees with you, you're probably right because that's an extremely biased source of information.
Yeah.
But it was like 2 to 3 other people like dogpile on this guy, and I'll give him this. He did not back an inch. but it was like having a conversation with a rock, and you can just information, information,
Yeah,
experience, experience,
that's no
experience, and
that's
it's
no
not going to go anywhere.
conversation. That's not even a conversation, man. That's just somebody that's bound and determined to be right. Like that is not where growth is found. I mean, the whole point here is to grow, isn't it? I mean, isn't that kind of, intellectually you want to grow? I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't want to at least try to grow intellectually. At least that's what they'll say.
Oh well,
Right?
I've encountered a lot who has expressed that they don't want to, or in their actions show that they don't want to. But one of the major things that
Hey, at least they're honest. At least they're
I
honest
mean,
about it.
at least they're honest about it. I will give them that. One of the major things that I try to hit on a lot in my blog and all the other stuff as I do is to be a perpetual student, and you'll find some of the greatest people within any given system that's successful that they are perpetual students. Is to be a perpetual student, and you'll find some of the greatest people within any given system that's successful.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
That's
I
fine.
was sharing your stuff out, trying to get the word out about this, and
Why, thank you.
we're playing in the background. I was like, "Where is that coming from? That's annoying. It's so annoying."
I know I am, but what are you? I mean, but either way, you have to at least. Oh, they attribute it to Sun Tzu or to Bruce Lee or something. It's like there's always going to be somebody better than you, and if there isn't, you should start something else so that somebody will be better than you. So you continually, for lack of a better term, evolving in both your skills, your abilities, your information, and your capability and beliefs in order to not necessarily be viable, but to be equipped for dealing with crap in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it. If you look around the room and you are the smartest guy in the room, you're not growing. You're not going to advance. And as far as I can tell, you're either going to be, in life, you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. There's no such thing as just maintaining and standing still. So if you look around and you are the smartest person in the room, chances are everybody else in the room is doing nothing but bringing you down in some fashion or another. And that doesn't mean you have to be super condescending to them, like, I am smarter than you, I know better than you. If you're saying that, chances are you're not the smartest person in the room. You have a lot of learning to do. However, if you do look around and you have a reasonable assessment that, yeah, maybe I am the smartest person in the room here, I need to start making connections and contacts with people that are maybe a few levels above me that I can learn from, that I can grow from. There's people that are super, super specialized in these different topics that I talk about on my show all the time. I don't know everything about everything. I don't know hardly everything about anything. I hope that made sense. It sounded like it made sense out of my mouth. At any rate, it's like you have these scenarios where people think that they know everything. It's like, no, you can still learn, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with standing back and saying, hey, maybe I was wrong about this. Maybe I didn't have all my facts in line. Rather than going on the internet and just finding an article that agrees with you and then constantly, posting until you freaking beat someone to death with pointless articles from CNN and the Washington Post and New York Times and even, yeah, Fox News. Like, come on, guys, this is not where truth is to be found. Like, you can get an idea about what's going on in the world and then work backwards from that. But you don't want to rely on those news sources. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it is part of the facade, as I call it. They put it up, and you're supposed to look at it. You're supposed to focus in on that. You're not supposed to look behind the curtain of Mr. Oz. Otherwise, you'll see that there is a much more wild and moderately explored territory that they don't want you to see. And once you head out into that wilderness, you'll find people similar to you, not exactly the same. They all wanted to know what was really going on, and even they don't know everything that's in this wilderness. But once you come back from behind the facade, people will look at you like, "What are you? Not who are you? What are you?" Because
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
changed so much.
They want to instantly put labels on you, like, hey, I really am having a hard time getting my mind around this Daniel guy or this Trent guy. I don't understand this guy. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to put a label on him, because once I can label you, then I can attack your arguments. I don't know.
I don't
That's
mind
no.
labels to an extent. It's like I need to be able to have a connection to starting to understand some of this. If someone ascribes to Taoism, for example, I like bringing them up because they're nice and neutral. All right, somebody who believes in Taoism is likely to believe this, but I need to find that out. But I need to know kind of a roadmap in order to ask questions to figure out what's going on and what they believe and what they think.
Now notice the labels that I tend to steer toward are labels that tell people what I'm not, that tell people what I don't believe. They don't say what I do believe. They say what I don't believe. I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in government. I don't believe in rulers. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a deity. I don't believe in a God. That's all it is. It's not really a label of telling people what I believe. It's telling them what I don't believe. So at least we can kind of scooch all that out of there and then work from there. It's like, okay, well, if you don't believe in all this, then now what? That would be the question to ask. Not, oh, well, like I can't. This one blows my mind. Even to this day, people are still asking me this. Oh, you're an atheist? Wait, you worship the devil, right? I'm like, dude, do some research. That makes no logical sense whatsoever. It's like people just want to label you, and then they want to try to figure out, okay, once I've got the label, everything else just falls out from there, and then that's who you are in my mind. Like that doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way.
Well, I actually have a surprisingly large number of atheist friends, despite the fact that me being a theist to the core. And in my experience with a lot of, I'll call them militant atheists, because they're the ones who the asshole ones that just kind of do everything and give everyone a bad name. I find that usually there's a very, very small amount of people who are actually, for lack of a better term, true atheists. It either becomes a part where they start worshiping a cult of personality or start worshiping themselves to the point of narcissism. And there's this very thin kind of string in the middle. It could be thousands or millions of people who really just don't think there's a God out there and just want to get on with their lives.
Yeah, basically, what I've actually found to be true. I know it's hard. You kind of lose sight of it when you're in the mix of all this, political commentary and the big debates and stuff. But the majority of people that I interact with tend to be, if I had to put a label on them, or at least a close approximation of a label on them, I'd go with most folks tend to fall into a libertarian category, insofar as they kind of just want to be left alone to do their job, raise their kids, support their family, do their weekend hobbies or whatever it is they do. They just want to be left alone. That's pretty much it. Don't
I've come to a similar conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, most people aren't going to know what that even means, because hell, it took me a long time to even figure out what the difference between a Republican and a Democrat was, let alone what a libertarian and an anarchist and a communist and a socialist. Like, I didn't know what any of that stuff meant. And I don't think most common folk they just want to be left alone. They don't want to get wrapped up in all this crap. But here lately, I tell you what, it's funny. I used to sit there and think, man, and it used to be a huge meme that went around even, is this idea that, man, there's really important issues going on in the world, and people are worried about what's going on American Idol. Like, you remember that? There was always like the benchmark show that if you watched that, like, you were an idiot because you weren't paying attention to what's going on in the world. And I remember thinking, man, I wish that more people would be involved in politics, man. They really need to understand what's going on here, because it does have effects on their life.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why.
Well, to finish that thought before you go on, let me finish that thought here. What I've realized now is that now with the running of Trump for president and the political divide, everybody's involved in politics all of a sudden, and now I'm sitting there eating my words, going, "Oh my God, that was a terrible idea."
I want my wish back. Get back in there, Genie.
Go back to watching a fucking American Idol instead of trying to act like you got a political or like you're a political commentator on stuff that you have not been paying attention to. You haven't been following. You don't know what's going on. You have not the foggiest idea, but you're just hearing what your news station's telling you and regurgitating it and acting like that's truth. That's not how any of this works. And I just wish people go back to watching American Idol, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Never thought you'd be asking that.
Right.
I mean, personally, I would absolutely prefer that if everyone were involved, they would take that drive and put it into research and developing things and making the world great, for lack of a better term, because it's not helping. It's not helping at all. And I love the idea of individuals who are capable who are informed and who know what they're going to be talking about, even if it's just about some random video game I've never heard of. If they know what they're talking about, I'll listen to them if I'm going to be playing that. But for the most part, most people, for lack of a better term, are going to be trying to play PlayStation with an Xbox controller.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I've been hooked on playing Fallout 4 lately. That's first of all, I have this policy with myself because I can easily get addicted into video games. I have this policy. I only play one video game at a time. And that's it. And then when I'm done with that one, then I'll move on to another one, which I miss out on a lot of like new releases, but that's okay. That's my cross to bear, man. At any rate, it kind of reminds me of somebody who's never played Fallout 4 or any of the Fallouts for that matter. They don't know anything about the world that you have to survive in. They don't know anything about the game mechanics. They don't know anything about, how to interact with the people and the different factions and it's stuff that takes time to kind of learn and get a grasp of, as with anything. And it's like it's almost like here lately we've got people like flipping on the control or flipping on the station, starting Fallout 4, seeing the first like 30 seconds of the thing and then acting like they have an opinion on everything. Like, holy shit, dude, slow down. Let's talk to some experts, talk to some people, maybe go out and watch some videos about what you're learning how the game mechanics work. Or get in there and just play around and find out what works, but don't go in there and act like you know everything about the game. Don't, it's your turn.
Yeah, I in my writings and stuff, I bring in video games and tabletops and other stuff because it's something people can relate to, and it can also illustrate things more clearly than, say, me trying to do something like that right now. I can say, it's like this game that you've played. Oh, I get that idea. And for me, I absolutely love the Stalker series of video games. It's this rough and tumble indie game, kind of, not indie, but cult following game. And the world really is kind of like that to an extent that it's gritty. You don't have infinite resources. Literally going to do any of the missions is life-threatening, not because people are out there trying to kill you. People are just out there doing their business, but the environment tries to kill you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you have to have reputation with this guy in order to, you have to have reputation with someone in order to figure out what's going on. And sometimes that's from really, really shady-looking individuals. Everyone's shading in this game. There's no kind of Walmart people, lack of a better term, like the greeters. It's like we have the nice shirt, we have everything there. It's like, oh hi, we're the greeters here. It's like everyone looks like they're about to shank you in some dark alley in that game. And you have to like, okay, this is a possibility. I have something I need to sell. I'm gonna talk to the shady guy because he's the only one who looks like he knows what's going on.
Yeah, it's like just like Fallout. You walk up on some people, you don't know whether they're going to attack you or whether they're going to be friendly to you. You have no idea. You got to approach slowly and then learn the situation, get your bearings on your surroundings, stuff like that.
You've encountered a new tribe. Yeah, you must create contact in sign language.
So you could easily take that same general concept into the political realm or the philosophical realm, which is where I like to kind of hang out a little more. And it's just take some time and learn the environment, learn the lay of the land, find out, who believes what and why they believe that way. Just take some time, get to learn it, and then hop in whenever you feel ready, But
find yourself a guide. Guides are fantastic and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like you're my guide, man. You're my guide. I always consult you all the time about. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you do have me on a lot. That's because I'm the only one available.
No, I have you on because you actually know what you're talking about, especially when it comes to the amendment or the Constitution. You know what you're talking about. You probably cite that shit from me line and verse. For the most part, I don't know it that well. I've read it. I don't know it that well though. So I mean, I bring on different people for different perspectives and for different expertise, if you will. And that's the reason I bring you on. I wouldn't bring you on to talk about some deeper philosophies of atheism. You would have no idea. Like you might have a general outline idea about it. You could probably participate in the conversation, but not on any deep, meaningful level necessarily.
That is true. It's like I try to make myself familiar with a lot of systems, so it's not like I know nothing about this. It's like, okay, I know how not to get us killed in this ideology, and I prefer to not talk about that. But going on to well, going on to how things don't always look the same. A lot of ideologies out there don't have um, the track record that their PR campaign would have you think. It's it's I love the world because it is so rough and tumble and it's terrible, and yet you have so many adventures and things to learn and things to find out from it. But you can only do that if you foray out from beyond this side of the facade into the wilderness where you recognize that you don't know. Probably one of my favorite things I've referenced in a TV show was, I think it was like a Russian proverb: the wise man calls himself a fool at least once a week. I first have to recognize that I don't know everything. I'm literally an idiot in a lot of different situations. I now know the problem. I can now go about fixing that problem.
Yeah, probably the best quote that I have for this one. It's I think it was Socrates said the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Like that's where you find true wisdom is in the knowing that you know nothing. Like start from there and then work your way up. Otherwise, you're just an asshole with an opinion, man. That's it. Nobody really cares. Nobody's gonna take you seriously, especially if you get one thing wrong, like terribly, terribly wrong. That's just gonna, with the world of the internet, that's just gonna follow you around for the rest of your damn life. People are gonna be like, oh yeah, well, remember that one time when you really fucked up?
Oh yeah, I'm sure whenever that happens, I will remember it 10 years from now. I'll wake up sweating in bed like, oh crap, ah.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's actually kind of liberating, to be honest, to be able to stand back and go, look, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to do more
Let's
research
find
on that.
out.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. There's nothing wrong with being proven wrong. I mean, it's I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly okay with it. I've been proven wrong before. I'm sure I'll be proven wrong again. I mean, it was like this a while back on my channel. We had a debate, me and another Christian, about whether God is good, and I remember very distinctly sitting there going, "Look, I don't know. I don't have all the answers here. I can do my best to kind of tell you what I believe and what I think. I don't have all the answers, and that should be okay. I'm perfectly comfortable and confident telling you that I don't know. I'm not all knowing."
Yeah, I saw those before, and I purposely avoided them just as I was like, all right, I don't want my blood pressure to rise because I've been steeped in that for all my life, and it's like ins and outs of everything, and I can talk to it about it in such a way that people's eyes will roll back in their heads. Like, all right, I'm going to spare myself. I'm going to spare them. I'm just not going to do this. I'm going to go do something else. And if whoever watches this and whoever is watching this, if you take anything from this, remember like 2 to 3 things. You should always be looking to improve yourself and be a perpetual student. People don't care what you say. You are easily replaced, no matter what. You might not be, whoever replaces you might not be as good at whatever it is you do, but you are expendable. And in doing that, you can live life with this freedom that, you know what, I may be the best thing that ever was. And I can continue doing that, but I'm not so great that I can't be taken down.
I might disagree with you on the last one about being expendable. I think most people probably are pretty well expendable in terms of most things, but I think a more proper goal might be to try to make yourself as inexpendable as you can. Like, make yourself somebody who provides so much value that someone would be crazy to get rid of you to replace you with somebody else. Like, make yourself irreplaceable. That's the word I was looking for. That kind of goes along with the first one about growth, about getting better and constantly being a student, and learning and gaining knowledge. A lot of people don't care about the knowledge aspect of it, but I mean, you're not going to go anywhere unless you do learn something. You just got to let that go. I think the public school system's done such a good job at convincing people that that education and school is a terrible thing, which, if you're going by the government model, yeah, it absolutely is. But you got to get yourself out of that mindset and realize that learning is really fun if you are interested in the topic that you're trying to learn about.
Oh yeah, it definitely is fun. I always love finding new information that I myself am interested in. But we have one thing that is definitely not what it seems, in that people have been taught so much that going to college and going through all the schools that the U.S. government has put out there for us to use is the way to success. I literally had one high schooler that I was hanging out with for music say, "Oh, you're going to have abject poverty if you don't go to college." It's like, I'm going to have like $60,000 to $100,000 worth of debt,
That
and I
sounds
might
like
not be able
poverty,
to.
doesn't it?
I might not be able to pay that off, even if I can find a job in the field that I've chosen.
Yeah.
That's years, if not decades, of my life that are no longer my own if I do that.
So is that a direction you want to go with this right now, or you want to go to something else?
I mean, if one of the things is part of the political landscape is colleges, and part of growing is understanding that not everything is as it seems, and the college thing is not as it seems. It's not the golden ticket
Dude,
by
isn't that a
far.
shame? Isn't that a shame that the very like the our education has now become a political, arena. Like,
I mean,
think about that for a minute. Like, seriously. Like, like if you're trying to create a system that's doomed to self-destruct, that is exactly how you would do it. You would make everything politicized, constantly dividing everybody, constantly making everybody at each other's throats. Like, you couldn't design a system more perfect to establish your rule over everybody and make sure that, well, hey, I'm causing these problems, but I'll be the guy to come in and fix them for you.
it's a masterful con job. I will not deny that, and it's a very very well thought out system from the stance of manipulating people, and it's kind of like the tale as old as time, is that people are going to be influenced because they're going to be promised success. If you tell them this is the way to success, because everyone wants to, improve themselves, they don't want to worry about having to eat, where they sleep at night. And if you say that's success, you promise them the world. And in my recent blog article, "Being Paid in Rainbow Gold,"
Mm-hmm.
people will promise you the gold at the end of that rainbow. But if they can't show you the process to get to that goal, or the process or whatever they're actually going to be trying to sell, you should walk away very quickly, because that's a pipe dream and you're going to be taken advantage of.
So check this out. As we were talking about the public school system, this is probably the first video or the first speaker I heard talk on this subject that made me really open my eyes and say, "Wow, we have so much work to do." And it actually came out in 2013. I've posted the exact keywords you can type in to find it in the chat section, but it's a Sugata Mitra creates a school in the cloud, and he talks about how the our current form of education, our public education system, is so obsolete. It's not even funny. Like, he's gone through and shown how students learn is not the way that we have thought. It's completely different, and the way that he went about proving this is insane. And I think now that everybody has a device in their pocket, the need for a building to go to for all the students is such a archaic idea, and it's just, we're wasting money and then we're pumping more money and acting like that's the problem. Dude, we're not even anywhere close to a solution until we start realizing that the solution is to get rid of all of it. Start from the ground up, just like what we're talking about. Recognize you know nothing and start from there. Build up.
Interestingly enough, a lot of colleges offer several of their older courses and like online resources for free. And it's just about knowing when, where, and how to get access to information. And if you grind that out of people, the natural curiosity, the natural, I want to find out if this is food or not, or if this is going to kill me. If you grind that out of people, which I think public school does, it gets the yes men kind of mentality into people.
Well,
If you take that
it's
from
actually
them,
designed to create factory workers, employees, carbon copies. Back in the day when it was created, the general outline of it was created so that people from one country could actually go into another country, another colony, and still maintain the same, you know, system of values, the same education level, the same general knowledge base. It was like modern day computers before they had computers. You know,
Standardization.
you had to transfer information, you know, from one place to another, and that was the best way to do it. Um, it's completely outdated. It's completely outdated. It makes no logical sense why we should have our kids, you know, put into another building away from, you know, listen. If the government can keep my kids for 8 hours a day for 12 years, and then by the time they get out and graduate, they still don't qualify for a damn job, like what are we doing here? What are we raising our kids to do? Are we teaching them pointless history they don't give a shit about? Or I mean, propaganda? Is that what we're doing? Like, is that the goal? I think it was Stefan Mullen who was talking about how when you kids tend to bond with who they're raised by, and most kids are raised by the state, and that's a damn shame that you have so much time away from your parents that you don't have an opportunity to build a bond with them. And that's really, man, there's so many different spider webs. I'm sorry, my mind's going, you're gonna have to kind of corral me in. I'm gonna lie. My
I
mind's
mean,
going ways.
I understand. I grew up homeschooled, and I pretty much spent most of my life with my family. I've not really experienced the world as much as I would like, but I have received so much of a training from the institutional knowledge of my parents for the decades that they lived before me and how things were and how they learned things. And I've learned so much from family members and people who are like family members that going to some random individual who I may eventually develop a friendship with in a school or in some other setting that is college, that I have at my fingertips just from talking to people I know. I have a massive amount of data and knowledge that I can learn from. I don't have to go out and be stupid. Like one guy told me that if I was not to have at least one or two misdemeanors on my public record, that I wasn't living. It's like, I don't want to be stupid. I want to learn and I want to understand things.
That sounds like somebody trying to justify their one or two misdemeanors they have on their record. Like, that makes
It really does.
Like, I have none. Like, I've never been in trouble with the law beyond like a speeding ticket when I was like 20.
I mean, it's like I want to do things in such a way that I learn from other people's mistakes so I don't have to make those mistakes. And that's another thing that I remind myself of a lot. It's like, okay, other people have more experience in a lot of things than me. But I have a lot of experience in things other people may not have. And we have to take those two sets of experiences, make them together somehow. It's like, okay, I have an intellectual partnership with you now. Let's figure out the two sides of this problem and see if you can deal with the one that I have no goddamn clue about, and I'll deal with this one that you think is black magic and sorcery.
Oh, you're talking about this mysterious concept called the division of labor.
Pretty much. I mean, it's very. The other thing that I hit on a lot in my blog post is the interconnectivity of things. Concept A will work in all of products and situations B through C, but it's not in the same format. So if I need a tool for this, the tool will work in a variety of circumstances. And I need to get as many tools that work in a variety of circumstances as possible and be able to modify them to an extent that I'm never without a toolkit. The toolkit's in my head, but the situations that I find myself are always going to be different. So it goes back to. Go ahead.
No, I was just curious. A slight topic change. If you wanted to finish what you were saying, that's fine. I was just curious about something else.
The toolkit that I must continually add to and continually refine resides in my head and allows me to use the world around me to create what I need in a given situation, or to bring what I need for a given situation. And it goes to creating capable individuals for progress, for lack of a better term, despite the fact that that world's been chopped up and Frankenstein into many little bits as it serves whoever's using it.
Frankenstein as a verb. That's pretty good. I wanted to ask you about, speaking of taking things at face value, quite literally in this case, is how did what did you think about that whole Roseanne racist tweet debacle that happened a while ago? I'm just curious because
Well,
there's
I've heard rumbles of it. I didn't actually see the real tweet. I really don't give a crap because it's not really important to my day-to-day activities. Kind of like Sherlock Holmes with whether the Earth goes around the moon goes around the Earth. He doesn't care as long as it doesn't fit. It's not
dude,
necessary to me.
I told a buddy of mine the same thing about the flat Earth theory. Like he's so hell bent on trying to convince me that the Earth is flat, and I'm like, listen, whether it's flat or round, I don't really give a shit. People are killing each other, and we're not able to talk to each other. Let's deal with that problem first, and then maybe we'll talk about the shape of the Earth. Anyway, the reason I brought up the Roseanne thing, I think this is incredibly illustrative.
Illustrative.
Let's go with illustrious. Illustrative? Vocabulary,
Yes,
not my strong suit. So we'll have to
wordsmith to an extent.
Yeah,
so.
let's leave that up to the professionals. So at any rate, the reason I brought up the Roseanne thing is because it's a good example of how you don't want to take things at face value because you might be wrong. There's a couple of different ways this showed up in this particular instance. First of all, you had Roseanne tweeting about Valerie Jarrett being the love child of ISIS and Planet of the Apes. That's what she said. Okay. Now, here's the problem. Here's where the face value principle or concept comes in. She made the mistake of not knowing that Valerie Jarrett was black. If you look at the girl, she don't look black. I'll give you that. So she made a comment that if she had realized that Valerie Jarrett was in fact a black woman, yeah, that comes off really fucking racist. And then you have, yeah, and to be perfectly frank, she was not wrong. Okay, she was not.
The comparison wrong. That they had of the two pictures that I did see is like, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, from somebody with a comedian mind. Like, that makes sense why that would be funny. Like, it's just like we do this all the time. We compare people looking like other things and other, at any rate. So at some point, the word ape or calling a black person a monkey became a racist thing. I get it. Okay. I get it. I don't know why it's still such a big deal, but at any rate, that's besides the point. What I'm trying to get at is, though, if you take things at face value and you look at the whole situation, well, what the mainstream media was saying was, well, Roseanne is a racist. She had a racist tweet, racist tweet, racist tweet. That's all it is. Roseanne's racist tweet. Every article, every headline, every news story was about Roseanne's racist tweet. So when people read that and they don't know anything about it, they just assume, oh my God, Roseanne's a racist. Roseanne made a racist tweet. Most people I've talked to ain't even seen the tweet. They have no idea what she tweeted about. And it's like, dude, look into it. There might be more to this story. You think anybody's going to be that dumb to ruin their entire career over something as blatantly, obviously racist as that? If you had the knowledge, and it's like, come on, this is more complicated than, oh, well, Roseanne made a racist tweet. Like, dude, stop. Just stop. This is not, you can't be taking things at face value. You have to look deeper into everything, because if the mainstream media is talking, you can almost bet they are lying to you.
Exactly. I was just about to say that the more experience I get, the more I see something spread all over the place, the more I've learned to ignore it.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's not there to inform me. It's not there to help me understand something better. It's there to distract me.
I don't. It's interesting watching this whole thing happen. The mainstream media collapse. Just people still look at that stuff and just take it for fact, and it's silly. It's really silly because there's so many examples of them straight up blatantly lying, altering photographs to suit their narrative, altering stories, and then taking it back a few days later at the back of their publication. It's like y'all got to pay attention. If you're really going to pay attention to what's going on in the political world, really pay attention. Because if you don't, if you're just getting your news from CNN every night, and you're watching MSNBC, and you're hearing Rachel Maddow, like, there is completely two different worlds going on right now. Like, if I'm going to take things at face value, I could watch Fox and take it at its face value, and I could watch MSNBC and see Rachel Maddow, spouting her bullshit, and take it at its face value. But if you listen to both of them, you'll recognize that there are completely different universes going on here. And it's sad because I used to be able to look at both of them and then figure out where they agreed. And that was usually about where truth was to be found, is in the overlap. Right now, none. Like, none at all. Like, there's two completely parallel, not even parallel, two completely different storylines going on. It's insane. And I do listen to all that shit.
If you ever wondered what the world burning down, the world as you know it ending, if you ever wondered how that looked like, it looks like this. It looks like today.
Marriage. I'm sorry.
Pretty much.
Sorry, go ahead. I digress.
I mean, we're seeing systems that have been in place and been groomed to be in the position they're in for literally 50 to 60 years, starting to come to the end of their life cycle. And as it begins to die, people who've only known that system are starting to panic, because literally the only system that they've known is coming to an end. From my own perspective, that would be absolutely terrifying. Of course, I like post-apocalyptic games, so it's just like, yay, candy store, let it happen.
Yeah, it's almost like back when they abolished slavery, and everybody who owned slaves is like freaking out, like, this is the only way we've always done it. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, I've got all this money wrapped up in this property here, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna pick my crops and run my business. It's gonna be impossible. I might actually have to pay somebody now. Like, of course, people are freaking out when things aren't going the way they think they should be going, or the way that the status quo has been telling them that things have to be going. Holy crap, stop, guys, stop. It's not that complicated. It's really not. And that's part why I became an anarchist, is because we don't need this extra bullshit. It makes no sense. Like, we can do it without government. We can do it without slavery. We could let women vote. But wait, we don't need to. Sorry. Anyway, like, the changes can come, and they can have good fruits be bear from those trees.
The more I see, the more I find is that simple answers answer complex problems. The more simple an answer I find...
You mean like religion, right? Is that what you're going for here? Sorry.
I mean, part of what it is I use the same concept in my own beliefs and stuff. But I know you're just giving me crap. You're just giving me crap, but I've had a lot of experience where people try to get this huge-ass spiritual answer to, like, this one verse in the Bible. And can we first look at what it says, then find out what happens around it, and then that, and then we just go with the simple progression of things instead of it being like, I have to be able to read the future off of a goat's ass in order to be able to give you the answer that you seek, instead of saying, oh, hey, there's lion tracks right here. There's a lion in the area. What does this mean?
What does it all mean? It must be a sign. At any rate, no, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy this stuff. It's frustrating, but it's also fun at the same time. It's a little exhilarating, and it's kind of cool seeing the changes and being a part of the changes, and trying
a little bit of masochism put in for
I mean, everybody needs to have their struggle, and this is kind of like my version of that struggle. It's like, I'm trying really hard to put on a good show and to get people turned to a truth. And the basic title of my show, Unframe of Mind, that's what I'm trying to do with people, is just open up the lines of dialogue, and let's do. I want to do what I had back in 6th grade with my classmates, and have these conversations where, we can disagree, we can talk about it, and not have to hate each other at the end of the day. I don't want to have to feel like somebody's wanting to kill me because of my beliefs. That makes no sense. Or somebody's gonna want to see my channel and then dox me and then try to get me fired. Like, I'm taking a risk, to be perfectly honest. I'm taking a risk in today's political environment by saying the things I say. because if somebody really wanted to, they could get me fired. My company is not going to deal with that bullshit if they found out what I do.
Exactly. And for me, my goal is to, I see stuff coming down at us that it is adding to the danger of being able to express your honestly held beliefs, whatever they may be, is becoming like the ultimate act of rebellion. And I want to give as many people as I can the tools, not the direction, the tools they need to be able to forge their own path. Because the way I was raised was I was given a tool set. And I think not a lot of people have been given a tool set that they can use. I want to share what I've been given with others so that they can ostensibly have a really good life and not have to be like, oh my God, what do I do now? I have the means. I want them to know that they have the means to deal with any situation that they could come across. That's what I want to do.
So you're almost like, hey, look at me. I'm living, I'm doing well for myself. I have a job, I'm you know, haven't been in trouble with the law. I got a decent education. Come over here and look in my toolbox and see what I'm working with here. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Kind of. I might not be where I want to be in life, but it's like, hey, the guy who can do a lot of things or is at least not stressed out by everything in his life, you should probably listen to him because he's figured out something so that he's not going to commit suicide or something else.
But what that is the color of your skin, your privileges is got you in a position where you don't have to. So it has nothing to do with you actually at all. It has nothing to do with you at all. It's just the fact that your skin is white, therefore privilege, therefore why would I want to listen to you?
True, but then I can just say I'm a wily Jew and play that card.
Not true. Not true. That's all bullshit. Every bit of it.
I know it is, but it's always really nice just to have like a few little cards stuck up your sleeve just to be able to combat literally the most inane counters to any argument that you can encounter today, though they are falling into like 4 categories: racist or sexist, whatever else.
You know what's crazy? My general rules for life, my general principles that I tend to follow, really, it's super simple. It's really, really simple. And it kind of makes it so I really don't have to pay attention to all the little intricate details of what's going on in the government and who's running this program and who voted that way and who did. I don't have to pay attention to none of that stuff. It's like, okay, it's all built on a system of it's all broke. Excuse me. It's all built on a system of broken principles of immorality, insofar as it's built on a system of theft. Therefore, you know what? No, I'm not participating in a system that requires I be stolen from in order for it to operate. It's like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works at all.
That's definitely another reason why I bring up morals and personal responsibility and personal ideals and or principles that people have. I bring that up a lot, and that's why I focus in on what I can do, because I can't change what you do. You can't change what I do. I can only change what I do. With that in mind, I have to not compromise. Otherwise, I start losing what it is to be me.
And how empowering is that, to recognize the fact that you actually have the ability to control where you go and what you do in this world?
It's absolutely freeing. And I think on that note, we'll head out. Check out Under Frame of Mind on YouTube. And, of course, like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching us blather on. And maybe we'll jump into the system of broken morals another time. Or maybe just come back and keep me company as I ramble on in unintelligible English. Either way.
Nothing screams a good time on YouTube as watching the ramblings of some guy.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And remember, always think about it. Try to find out what you don't know.